Welcome back to the County Connections again. Thomas, Karn, Dan, and Scott, your host. We cut off last segment after we talked about ambulance and the comm center as two primary components of the ballot question that was passed recently. Now we want to talk about the water quality component, a little bit more about what's involved in that. $630,000 is what we've talked about as part of that water quality measure, as part of discussions leading up to the November election. So Karn, Dan, do you want to start off?
Sure, this is a smaller part of the question, but something that most everyone here is quite aware of. We have a legacy of mining pollution in Summit County, and we've been chipping away at it, but we still have very significant problems in especially the Upper Blue and the Snake River basins. And we have an exciting project that is moving forward in the Snake River in Peru Creek with the Penn mine, one of the biggest polluters of acid mine drainage, which creates basically a toxic soup of metals as it moves on down the river. So that was put together with a large collaborative group, the EPA, the State DREAMS, Division of Mining Reclamation. I never remember what that stands for, but they work on mining reclamation, as well as the Forest Service, the county, and there are probably a couple other groups, Blue River Watershed Group, Snake River Task Force, so big collaborative group. And the final product that we have in place is a bulkhead blocking the water from going through that mine and creating the acid mine drainage. We don't know the outcome yet, but we're hoping for at least a 50% reduction in acidity, which will then reduce the heavy metals considerably, but it's still to be determined. So we can spend a lot more money than $630,000. We're looking at about half of that going to that historic mining cleanup, and the other half to modern day pollutants that are getting to be more and more serious in our drinking water. And that includes the pharmaceuticals that we encourage people not to flush, but to take to the landfill or to the city market return program. E-waste, all of the computers and TVs and all those things cannot go into our landfill, and it costs us 4 or 5 times the amount that we have been charging. So now you can bring your old computers and TVs to the landfill as soon as we get this up and running next year for free. And we hope that will improve the collection rate.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with household hazardous waste.
Household hazardous waste is something that in the past we've done big community programs to gather all those things, make people aware of the problem, and have it be for free. So we're planning to have a couple big collection days and good education days to make people aware of why we need to keep these things out of our water supply. And so that will enable us to do this at a really good rate for people, free.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at something like dual TVs, I recycled one a few years ago, and literally it was like 350 pounds. I had 2 of my good friends help me out to carry that out of my place. But I mean, a lot of us have the old TVs or old electronics, and there's a great way to recycle that so it doesn't end up in the landfill. But
there's been a lot of work done by a group of folks, the Zero Waste Task Force, and so thank you to all of them that worked on studying a bunch of the different issues we had at the landfill and our fee structure and all of the rest of that. This funding certainly will help the situation with regards to how we provide those services and how you set it up so that people can just do the right thing without having a fee stop them from getting rid of those electronics the right way, getting rid of household hazardous chemicals the right way, whatever it may be. I think the other thing that we should mention before we close this segment is a big thank you to the Summit Daily and to Matt and Ben, because when we originally started talking with them about this, they were tactfully skeptical of whether this was really needed or not. And they spent a lot of time asking us about the justification. And at the end of the day, they endorsed our question, and they've kind of stayed away from those for a while now. So thank you to the Summit Daily and their coverage, because I think it really helped a lot in terms of people understanding why we needed to pass this funding question.
Yeah, certainly the articles that they wrote, a series of articles, just to get the information out there and to share what this was all about, whatever position individuals took, whether they were in favor of it or not. But to get the information out there was certainly very helpful and much appreciated.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, so thank you again to the voters for your faith in the county and the work that we do. And we'll move on now to, let's see, we'll talk about the healthcare rollout. So the Affordable Care Act, Year 2 enrollment. Dan, you want to talk briefly a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Year 2 enrollment started on the 15th, so a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited to let people know, and hopefully folks already know, but we are not part of the most expensive region in Colorado or the United States anymore, but we are part of a larger region of risk pool areas of the whole western slope, minus Grand Junction more or less, so that will help bring some prices down. But open enrollment is now available. We have seen a little over 7% decrease on the average in terms of the rates, and statewide there's actually been a 1.2 increase. And so in terms of the overall big picture, we're the only region that has seen that large percentage decrease. The Eastern Plains saw a little over 5% decrease as well, but what happened with the new configuration was that we went from we had 11 regions, and we were part of the 11th region, and then the Division of Insurance more or less decided to take 2 regions out of the equation. So they took out the Eastern Plains area and then took out our region, or what was it called, the resort region, which was Region 11. So exciting. There's still a heck of a lot of work to be done. We are working as a county with a lot of the stakeholders, the hospital, the healthcare providers, to explore what the real drivers are of the expensive health insurance that we have here up in the high country. And there's just a lot of work that needs to be done, but we're trying to figure out a lot of its utilization, a lot of its direct costs. But
and kudos to the hospital. The hospital has met with multiple insurers that are part of the exchange and the marketplace to try and identify ways that it can try to affect the cost as well. And that's been successful with the co-op, and then with, I believe it's Anthem was the other group that they're working with. So they've made a real strong effort since last year, when we did have that moniker of the highest cost region in the country, let alone the state. And so again, kudos to them for stepping up and working with them, the insurers, and the county has been a small part of those conversations as well.
Right. I think it's interesting that the Kaiser Family Foundation, that identified us last year as the most expensive region in the United States, has now identified Summit County as the county where the most significant drop for bronze or silver plans has occurred, right? And so, I will share with everybody that, when we first took this on last year and said, oh my gosh, we're the most expensive place in the United States of America to sign up, what are we going to do about this? And when we first went down to the governor's office and started these conversations, we walked out, at least I walked out of there going, oh my gosh, this is hopeless, right? We're not going to be able to affect anything at all. And we did. So anyway, anecdotal evidence for me is a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, the rates for this next year, and especially with the co-op, are much better than they were when they first encountered this. So yay, it's better.
At the end of the day, after that meeting with the governor's office, there definitely strength in numbers. I mean, we really work closely with all the other counties that were part of this most expensive area, which, just so everyone knows, Eagle County, Pitkin, and Garfield. Right. And we all teamed up, county commissioners that were Republicans, Democrats, and all had a common goal to figure out what the heck are we going to do.
And sometimes it pays not to be polite.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Sometimes it's important to
carry a big
pound
stick.
your fist.
Yeah.
All right, well, good work on that. More to come, obviously, as that rollout continues, and certainly there will be evolution every year with that program.
And a lot more work.
Yeah, and
Oh,
lots
yeah.
more work.
We're not done.
We're not patting ourselves on the back necessarily. It's a lot more work that needs to be done.
I agree.
All right, so Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about, clearly we got all of a sudden last week winter hit in Summit County.
We actually had a fall, too.
Beautiful extended fall. It was amazing. And then all of a
Flip
sudden
the switch.
it hit, and it hasn't really stopped, although now it's sunny out at least, but a little chilly. So talk a little bit about winter and winter driving.
Well, yeah, this morning it was cold enough that there was natural traction. But as it's a little bit closer to freezing, that's when the roads get the most slippery. And those of you who live up here, hopefully you have your snow tires. I couldn't believe it when the snow happened. All the tire places were just jam-packed.
Yay!
November 1st is a good date to shoot for. We're getting close to Thanksgiving, so hopefully you have your snow tires. CDOT has a couple programs along with the I-70 Coalition really promoting the understanding that a lot of our traffic jams are caused by individual cars. People like to blame the trucks, and there are truck issues as well, but the majority is individual cars that don't have the right traction, and they're sliding, and one car getting into their own individual sliding incident can jam up traffic for a couple hours. So don't be one of them. Make sure you have the right traction. If you're, I know a few people here actually at the high school who have new cars, and they've worked hard to buy this car, and they just don't have the money to get snow tires. If you really can't, then get the BOCC. You can just Google it, and they're $50 to $70, and they can be your lifesaver. If you're out there and suddenly don't have the traction, you can get the BOCC. It's like an easy chain. We used to, in my day, we put chains on, but people haven't done that much except for the truckers. Get your own BOCC. It's really easy to find online. Order them for Christmas.
Yeah, it's like a Kevlar material and extremely easy to put on. It's almost like a sock that you put on your foot. You know, it just kind of reaches right over the wheelbase, and it's very durable. And the little Kevlar materials just kind of dig right in. It just adds, extra traction. So a lot of the truckers are using it now, and you can find them at various different stores. I know.
Yeah. So guys, take it from Karen Stiegelmeyer. All your girlfriends, all your wives, all they want for Christmas is BOCC. All right.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, and then I-70 is obviously very, very important to us, and when you look at traveling, to Denver, or people that are traveling up here, make sure that you're tied into some of our alert systems too, because SC Alert is what we use locally, but that doesn't have information on what's going on I-70. So you need to look at CoTrip, look at CDOT website to look at their updates as well. But it's really important to be tied in to both of those alert systems. But Colorado Department of Transportation, they're really working on minimizing the amount of road closures that they have. They're increasing the frequency in terms of snowplows. They're having more people come to this region actually to live here for the season. They're putting staff up in hotels this season. They've never really done that before with the amount of folks that they have working in this region. So they're really hopeful that will lead to fewer road closures. And I'm trying to think that the variable message boards that we see on I-70, CDOT is also looking at increasing those to make sure people have as much information as possible. And they're working very closely on the travel demand management component, working with the ski resorts and some of the larger employers to have like kiosks, for example, at the base of maybe like Peak 8, for example, in Breckenridge, where people can have real-time information, video monitors that actually show people, hey, this is what the travel looks like. If you want to jump in your vehicle, head down to Denver right away, it might take a certain amount of time. People might want to stay here and stay for dinner or whatever.
This is the wait time at the local
restaurant. Yeah. Yeah. So they're really working hard on increasing the technology and just getting as much information out there to not only locals but visitors, so they just are prepared for what to expect.
This is the time of year where we get a lot of new people moving to Summit County, and so for those of you that are new to Summit County, scalert.org. It's a go to that website. There's a menu that you can pick the kind of alerts that you want to receive, but the ones on transportation are especially effective, I think. And then CoTrip is the other place that you go to find out what's going on I-70. But don't just assume that I-70 is an open interstate that works all the time every day. You'll learn really quickly that Sunday afternoons are not a good time to plan to go to Denver, right? Yep. For example. So,
and when the weather is really bad, truckers do play a role in spin outs and so forth, and it's much more complex when truckers get in an accident than it is for a regular passenger vehicle. So they are looking at ways that they can minimize the truck travel to be on the corridor during bad inclement weather, where they'll stop people in .0 area or down in Clear Creek County before they get up to higher elevations and so forth. So that's pretty controversial, but I think it's really important to put forward during really bad weather, just to not allow people to get on the road and not sit there for hours and hours and hours. So,
and we're not trying to demonize the truckers or the trucking businesses. We know that all of our goods and services come to us via those trucks. I think that those truck companies have done the very best that they can to figure out how to minimize having their trucks stuck in all of that. They dislike it just as much as we dislike it, but there's a reason why the food's on the grocery store shelf. There's a reason why there's gasoline at the gas station. It's all coming to us through those trucks. So, in all of this, I think all of us are really careful to say, don't demonize the truckers and the trucking industry. So, we'll continue to work on it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anything else to add before we wrap up? All right.
That's what it is.
Good. Again, feel free to let us know if you've got other show ideas, topics you'd like us to cover, and certainly stay tuned to CTV 10 for lots of other interesting community programming.